a lot of listeners, they have a better understanding now of the macros, like protein, carbs and fats. But one thing that I've seen more and more discussed lately is fiber. Can you explain just the basics of fiber? Why is that important? Why is it relevant for us? And what should people be looking at? Where are we getting our fibers from?
Yeah, so fiber is insoluble or soluble, and it comes from carbohydrates, mainly plant-based sources. And what it's really important for is the gut, okay, and the gut health. So you have...
It affects your poo.
it can affect your poo, but high-fat diets can affect your poo too, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Effectively, your gut's microbiome, the bacteria in your gut, feeds on what are called prebiotics. And there's certain prebiotics, things like chicory root, garlic, onion, that are better than others. And effectively, that's what helps your populations flourish or diminish if you're consuming those prebiotics and those types of fibers. So it becomes incredibly important from a health perspective. And if you look at more and more of the research related to the gut-brain axis, then a healthy gut probably relates to a healthy brain.
Smarter brain.
Yeah, maybe not smarter, but certainly healthier. And, definition of health is always an interesting one. But I actually worked at a gut health biotech startup when I was in Boston. So it was really cool learning a lot about this. And a really good book to read is the Gut-Mind Connection by Emran Mayer. He's a gastroenterologist at UCLA. And he describes it as like a sort of 4-way highway going up and a 2-lane highway coming down. So it's actually from the gut up to the brain as opposed to the brain down to the gut in terms of the way things are controlled in your body. The gut microbiome feeds on these prebiotics and this fiber, and that's what creates short-chain fatty acids. Short-chain fatty acids are then the fuel that effectively allow for so many physiological processes to occur in the body. If you don't have that, then the metabolites, so they're the things that flow around the body and cross over. Some of them cross over the blood-brain barrier. If you don't have those particular metabolites and they're not in particular balance, then a myriad of sort of disease states seem to be correlated to those. And a lot of it is correlation, and correlation is not causation. I get that. But I think as you start to see more and more correlation, you can start to say, okay, maybe this is right. So
it is amazing to think of that something like eating enough fibers and getting it generally through plant-based sources can have an effect on your brain, right? That's kind of what we're saying, which sounds ludicrous. I mean, if I try to explain that to my dad, I think he'd be like, he just almost wouldn't believe it. But.
It's like this notion of your gut has memories. So the whole, and it's so hard to explain, but like that gut feeling you have is based on experiences you had through life, and the bacteria creates these memories that then go up to to the brain.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to think about. And it's so...
It's amazing to think about.
Emran, Dr. Mayer, he explains it really well in the book, and it's really worth reading. I had to read it probably 2 or 3 times to sort of get my head around it. But it's so cool. And that gut feeling you get is based on experience. Yeah. It's not just this weird thing. It's actually based on something that has occurred to you in the past. And those memories are created from the bacteria in your gut that are going to your brain. And that's why your gut feeling is something you should trust. And it's amazing. So cool. Yeah. Like, I mean, the more you read about, like, I think there's a lot of fluff. There still is a bit of fluff out there.
It's very difficult to prove anything of that, I guess.
A lot of it's theoretical frameworks. And I was lucky enough to work with a mother and daughter combination of Wayne Matson and Sam Matson. And Wayne literally is like the godfather of metabolomics. And, he's just this old dude. You can talk about anything, and he's worked with NASA, he's worked with every Mayo and all this, and he just sit and just absolutely blow you away with discussions of how the KEGG pathway works and the metabolites here and that, and you're just like, wow. Yeah, it's so cool.
That's awesome.